Capitol Report is a production of Senate Media Services.
This week, new laws protecting student data and legalizing products containing THC derived from hemp take effect. Plus, Governor Walz and lawmakers head to a central Minnesota farm to highlight the agriculture and broadband funding package. Stay tuned for this week's Capitol Report. Welcome to this week's program. I'm Shannon Loehrke. Several weeks ago at a dairy farm near Foley, Governor Tim Walz held a ceremonial bill signing to celebrate a new law that provides $13.1 million in drought relief to livestock and specialty crop farmers and invests in greater expansion of broadband across the state.
This piece of legislation addressed first and foremost, we talked about the drought, the unpredictable nature of that. I think it always goes every time without saying, but needs to be said. Whenever we provide supports to agriculture, we're providing supports to families. We're providing support to food security. We're providing support to the entire economy. We have enough money right now, which you will rarely hear from government in that case. We have enough money with no tax increases to do border-to-border broadband. We just need to make sure we're talking to the end users. We're using the creative solutions that are out there. We're not going to see some of those final miles done until we make that big commitment that's there amongst these groups.
This bill invests in issues our farmers and producers are facing right now and also paves the way for the future of farming here in Minnesota. After one of the worst droughts in decades, we're providing some relief for farmers to recover, like covering the cost of feeding and watering animals and produce. We're preparing for future agriculture emergencies like this year's outbreak of avian influenza. And we're promoting research, sustainability, and innovation in agriculture to keep Minnesota farmers and producers really on the cutting edge.
We put $2.5 million into our revolving loan account. And so that'll be there forever, or as long as we have it, but it continues to cycle dollars, and that gets used for storm damage, and it gets used for high path avian influenza.
Getting this bill over the finish line was tremendous for all of our state, especially border-to-border broadband in all of rural Minnesota, the economic development and benefits that means for our farmers and our rural communities, as well as the ag drought relief. And so it was a great thing to be able to, some have joked, and I think you heard from Commissioner Petersen, we got together over a pizza. Now, what a novel idea. What we do in rural Minnesota is gather around meals.
I'm just happy that farmers are being looked at. I read an article, there's down to like 1% of us now, and back when I was raised, it was maybe 20%. I don't know, but it's slowly going away. I get a little bit, I hear family farms and corporate farms. I really struggle with that because I consider this a family farm. We do have employees and we have Hispanic employees, and that is another big topic that needs to be addressed because none of these farms are going to go on in the future without labor. And it seems to be a struggle to get these good workers who have proven to work to be legal.
Following the event, I spoke with Senator Torrey Westrom, chair of the Senate Agriculture Committee, and I began by asking him about the significance of the funding package.
It was a long time coming, this ag bill, but now that it's done, just a general overview, what does this mean to you?
Well, this is great to have accomplished. The Senate pushed hard for rural broadband investment and agriculture relief, drought relief for our farmers. And being able to get this done, it's the largest broadband investment in state history that the Senate pushed and led the charge on. And we are glad to have it over the finish line and signed into law. Over this biennium, we have now over $280 million committed and invested into rural broadband, building out the unserved areas of broadband across rural Minnesota. And this is a big deal. So it's a great accomplishment that passed through the legislature this year.
And what does the expansion of broadband mean for farmers and ranchers in particular?
Well, the broadband expansion means that they can advance and innovate their operations with precision, with more contacts to markets, individual markets, or other market opportunities, as well as just running their operation. The farm we're on here in Foley, Minnesota today, we heard from the owner. Broadband is an integral part of their operation for their feed mixers, that they can watch the feed mixers and all the rations going in from their office because of Wi-Fi and broadband opportunities. The other aspects of their barns and precision agriculture, being able to precisely put on the nutrients on the field where they're needed, not just spread the whole field. They can save costs of nutrients and inputs because of that, and they can grow more food, which is very important, and why agriculture is also benefiting greatly from the rural broadband investments.
There is money in the bill to help farmers get started in farming and also some down payment assistance. As the average age of farmers is increasing in Minnesota, why is this important, and what does it mean for the future of agriculture in Minnesota?
Well, as the Senate Ag Chair and our Senate Ag Committee, we are very bullish on agriculture and farmers, and so we want to support, and we did support, efforts to bring in new farmers, new farmer tax credits that we've been pushing, the new down payment assistance, $500,000, a first-time grant program for up to $15,000 for a new farmer. We realize that's not significant amounts of money, but everybody has to start somewhere, and every big farmer was once small, and every medium-sized farmer was once small, and they had to start somewhere. And so the idea with that down payment assistance was a small investment as a loan that turns into a forgivable grant as long as they continue farming for more than 5 years. And starting small, that's what's going to allow them to flourish, expand their operations. Many might be specialty crop farmers, where some of them on a small amount of acres can make a very good family income. And others can start out farming corn and soybeans or livestock, traditional farmers, working with a family member and growing their small operation into a bigger operation alongside their parent or brother or uncle.
We're in the midst of the growing season here in Minnesota. What's your view, just in general, of how agriculture is faring in Minnesota right now?
You know, right now, we've had a lot of storms go through, but we have had a lot of sufficient rainfall in most cases. Coming out of the drought of last year, it's kind of a juxtaposed position. Last year, we were just praying and waiting for rain to come. That hit so many farmers and livestock farmers hard. This year, we've had ample rain. In fact, it was too wet in many areas that they delayed getting crops in. Through June, it's kind of settled out. Seems like most people have had the ability to get their crops in. Crops are looking very well, a little behind, but if they were able to get them in, they're on their way to another great harvest season. Of course, that's always in the weather, and the weather is in the details that we'll find out by September and October, but I think we're in a very good position. And that's why the Ag Bill passing this year, the supplemental Ag Bill with the rural broadband focus, but the drought relief also helps those farmers that had a real struggle last year, but looks like they're going to be helped in recovering by good rainfall this spring and early summer.
Senator Westrom, thank you.
Thank you.
Thom Petersen, the Commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Agriculture, recently joined me in the studio to talk about some of the aspects of the new agriculture law. And I began by asking him how the further expansion of broadband helps the agriculture industry.
I would say, Shannon, at my farm, I have 5 different ways to get on the internet, and so whether that's hotspots or satellite or other service, it's just really frustrating depending on where you live in rural Minnesota. And so I know firsthand. And so to have that for farmers, whether it's GPS and different computer systems on tractors and modern machinery, to our smaller farmers that sell direct market, our e-commerce program at the Department of Agriculture that helps those farmers build websites and everything else is incredibly important. So having that irrigators run on irrigation systems can run by iPad or your phone, and so all these things are very dependent, so it's great to see that investment too as well.
I would guess that saves water too, to have it sort of mechanized with the farmer able to interact in real time.
Yeah, it's amazing, the technology, even the companies that we have in Minnesota. We have a company called Earth Scout here that also helps test soil moisture and sends all the data right to your phone. And so you can save also fertilizer, pesticides, things like that. You're able to really check. So having that investment is going to be helpful.
Well, and speaking of soil, next year $500,000 will be available for soil health financial assistance. I know that Minnesota is known for its very rich soil, but I also know that a lot of it ends up in the Mississippi Delta. What's the goal? How is this going to work?
Yeah, and so we're really excited to have this. We wanted to, we're hoping for a lot more money, but we got our kind of foot in the door. We'll kind of be a pilot to really help jumpstart and boost some of our soil health initiatives. This was supported by just about every agricultural organization. You know, as you said, soil is incredibly important. You need it, you want to protect it, and there's so much going on that farmers are doing. And really it'll help support getting more and more farmers into cover crops, reduce tillage, subscriptions, things that they use that help them encourage to bring along some of those practices that will have multiple benefits, whether it's water quality, climate related. You know, you mentioned holding the soil here, and so we're really excited about that initiative as well.
There's also $500,000 next year, $1.5 million in the next biennium to provide grants to assist people with down payments. I know that the average age of farmers is quite high. I also know that the cost of getting into farming is very daunting. So is this to help that next generation of farmers, and who might they be?
You know, I think it's really interesting, and it's, as you said, the average age of a farmer in Minnesota is almost 58 years old. You know, and I've seen statistics where 50% of the farmland in Minnesota is going to turn over in the next 20 years. That's just with the baby boomer generations and everything else. And so, farmland can be very expensive. We have a lot of different, we have an initiative at the department called our Emerging Farmers Program, where we're seeing whether it's Somali, Hmong, our Native American, a lot of different populations getting into farming. And so that down payment can sometimes be a burden. That's one of the top things that we've heard, that access to land, getting that down payment is hard. I know as somebody who's bought a couple of farms that is, you know, one of the things that's very difficult. So this will be a pilot program that we can start and get going.
The mental health of farmers has been an ongoing concern. We've talked about it before. This new law provides additional funding, $22,000 next year and $44,000 in the next biennium. With the increased awareness and additional funding to help farmers and those in the agriculture industry with their mental health, are we turning a tide here?
You know, I hope so. You know, the one thing I'll say we're turning a tide is that we're able to talk about it more, and I think that's really good. But I think the challenges that we've had, you know, if you look at 2019, we had the wettest year on record for farmers. 2020, we had COVID, which really impacted farmers a lot. 2021, we had a drought. 2022, we've had the wettest spring on record. We've had just terrible storms, high path avian influenza. One farmer I talked to last week, he had experienced all three of those. And you think about the mental health and stress, and it's frustrating not to be able to get your crop in the ground when prices are as good as they are. And so we're glad to have the resources and the support the legislature's given us. This money supports our counselors that we have that are free to farmers. We also have farm advocates that are free to farmers. So, but unfortunately, you know, we do continue to struggle and have people, but we're glad that we have the resources, and we always want people to reach out and ask for help if they need it.
Minnesota's legislature is divided, and as I said in the introduction, the agriculture bill was one of the few to finish. Is there, what in your view, why is agriculture one of the winners? What are the areas of agreement between the Republicans and the DFLers on agriculture?
You know, I think it's really just, you know, getting out and working. You know, it's one of the great spaces to work in at the Capitol. We have a lot of fun in the committees. I think we have interesting discussions. We work really hard, I think, to not try to make it as personal as we can. You know, the story that we were about 7 o'clock the night before, I really wanted to get this done, and Senator Westrom called me, and he wanted to have pizza with me and Chair Sundin, and we got together and we hammered the bill out that night, you know, and so that really helps, is having that camaraderie or really working together and trying to focus support from all the agricultural groups, whether it's a larger or smaller organization, really helps. And and hopefully we can continue that, because it is hard. A lot of people think that they look and say, oh, Democrats are over here, Republicans are over here, and we don't get along. But there's many cases where we're able to push things forward.
Commissioner Thom Petersen, always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
A student data privacy law passed both the House and the Senate unanimously last session and was signed into law in late May. At a recent ceremonial bill signing, Governor Walz, lawmakers, and advocates gathered to celebrate.
Many of us learned in some of our introductory history classes, Tinker versus Des Moines, the idea that the Supreme Court made clear that students do not give up their constitutional right at the schoolhouse door. And this issue, especially with an electronic world of protecting that data, is of utmost importance. And so this group of bipartisan legislators came together to make sure this data is important. It's important how we deliver services, it's important how we track students on their progress, those types of things. But it has to be equally important that that data is protected and private and belongs to the students.
We all know that students right now, and have for several years, been doing a lot of their homework, a lot of their daily schoolwork online. And we wanted to make sure that that data was protected, that that data belonged to the students, that it didn't belong to the tech companies.
We're in an age where it's just amazing how fast technology is growing, and the advancements that tech companies are making, and the changes that schools have been adapting to more and more in recent years. And it's growing faster than probably anyone would have realized. And this is to make sure that we have some guardrails in place for our students and for parents to protect our kids, to make sure that data is used for the purpose that it's designed for, to help with their best educational efforts.
I'm so thrilled about this bill. I always tell people that it is the most exciting, meaningful bill that has ever passed unanimously in both bodies. It is truly a profound step forward, and it is a nation-leading bill that will protect student data privacy.
This bill, through the years, has sat in the subcommission of data practices, and that's a very bipartisan commission, and I hope this is that nudge that members that are returning need to get some of this stuff done in this issue, because technology is just leaps and bounds ahead of our privacy.
Senator Karla Bigham was one of the champions of the Student Data Privacy Act, and she joins me now in the studio. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
There have been efforts for several years now to modernize and strengthen protections for student data in this digital age. Those efforts resulted in this new law. And first off, is Minnesota a leader in this area?
Yeah, this is a big step forward, and we have more to do, but absolutely. I mean, we went from basically having nothing protecting student information to having a pretty significant protection and barriers around what can be done and what cannot be done with data. I mean, there's no way around it. You shouldn't have to choose between going to a public school and protecting your kids' data.
For sure. I recall a few years ago when it became known that some of the smart technology that people have in their homes was secretly recording their conversations or filming them or compiling other information about them without their knowledge. It made me wonder if during the pandemic, when students were learning at home and perhaps even still with those school-issued devices, was that going on then, and could it still be going on now?
I certainly think so. I mean, the whole premise of this case was when students were using these apps, all of a sudden, in the not so distant future, they were getting solicitations in magazines and stuff for like yoga equipment if they were using an app to learn yoga, or whatever else they were learning that day. Sometimes they would just be solicited for commercial products, and that's just creepy and wrong. And that's what this bill does, is it really says you can't do that. And so I hope it's not happening anymore, and we're going to make sure of that with this bill.
Well, and certainly there will be recourse if people find that it is happening. As you know, data is money, and businesses want accurate profiles to be able to market their products. But when it comes to children's educational data, if a third party is learning about a student's academic strengths and weaknesses and likes and dislikes, it seems to me anyway that this is very private data. It goes to the privacy that we would expect even of medical information. Is educational aptitude akin to medical information, and should it be protected as such?
I think so, and that's one of the reasons why I was very happy we had this discussion in the Data Practices Commission. Very few pieces of legislation actually make it through that commission. It's bipartisan, bicameral. I think in my 5 years of being here, I only recall one other piece getting through, and that was on drones, when we had like zero protections on drones. And so really what you explain is why we want to pass these laws, because data is really ahead and technology is really ahead of us. And this brings us a step closer to protect that information that I do think is very personal, and a family gets to decide, what if any assistance is needed with a student's education, or that should be between the teacher, the parent, and the student.
One new thing that this law does is prohibit government agencies and technology providers from accessing or monitoring certain features of school-issued devices. Is there anything about this that parents need to be aware of?
I would just always check the settings and really understand the device and the apps that your child is learning through the school. This really gives parents a voice in what materials and applications are being used. We did not include it for like taking attendance, the app for taking attendance, or your bus route, or some of those administrative, where your grades are, administrative stuff. But the applications that really data goes back and forth and is saved and all of that, it really needs to be protected. And I would just, as a parent, learn the settings of the app, make sure they're set to your satisfaction, and you should report it if you think something is going on.
Is there something more that the schools then should even possibly do to be communicating with the parents about how, for the well-being, the mental well-being of parents to know?
Yeah, absolutely. And we had a broad group of stakeholders, and so we received a lot of feedback on this bill, and that is one thing that I think is very important. The schools are responsible for accepting a contract, for these apps. So really being involved in making sure that the quality assurance is there for these apps is very important, and that's on the parents and the students. And I really just think that the schools need to communicate their process. If there's a complaint or a compliment, if you like it better than one that was previously used, you feel more secure. It's always good to say that too, and send that along.
Does this law apply only to public schools?
Yes,
or is
only
it all
to public schools and not higher ed.
And not higher education.
Yep.
Our schools, our students, frankly, me, all of us adults rely heavily on technology now, and I think you said it really well at the press conference. The tech industry is leaps and bounds ahead of our privacy.
Absolutely.
How far does this law go in catching us up?
Well, it gets us closer. Are we ever going to be caught up with this? I mean, I don't know. I can't keep up with all the different versions of the iPhone. I mean, so I think I really hope the cooperation that this bill showed. The ACLU and education advocates, parents, data privacy advocates, all got together for the same reason and got this done. And I really hope this sets an example for us to deal with AI, facial recognition, and other just normal social networking, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, all those. I really hope we can have conversations in the future about protecting that data, because it gets in the wrong hands, it's a problem.
The law tells tech providers that they must destroy or return data after a contract expires and prohibits the sale or use of the data for commercial purposes. What happens if they don't? How would anyone even necessarily know?
So Chapter 13, which is current law protecting data, and also has penalties, civil penalties, criminal penalties, all that, for violating any of those chapters would basically, this would fall under that. But always file complaints with the school district if you're a parent or a student. And you always can go to the Attorney General, Department of Commerce, to really, let your voice be heard that you think that this business is doing something shady.
Senator Karla Bigham, thank you.
Thank you.
Lawmakers called a press conference at a local brewery to talk about a new law that permits the sale of products containing hemp-derived THC in Minnesota.
This law came forward this legislative session and became effective July 1st, and it's the product of many months of work from legislators, from advocates, from business owners who recognize that Minnesota can create a safe, legal marketplace for cannabis products, and that we need to start doing so now. I want to be clear, however, that this is not full legalization. This is an important step forward, and the door is now open to consumers having access to products containing THC that many of them prefer to consume. And I don't think we are going to go backwards. Despite comments in the press from some Republican leaders, Minnesota strongly favors this change. We absolutely did this on purpose. It was an intentional step forward, and it is an opportunity for Minnesota businesses and Minnesota consumers to have access to a product that can be safe and is widely available and used today, however, through an illicit marketplace.
Many retailers believed that the Farm Bill made it legal for them to sell THC products, but in fact it was not. By report, we knew these products were being sold throughout the state of Minnesota, and many of these products were being modeled after products that children use, such as I think there was Doritos, cereals, Sour Patch Kids, things that really looked like them. We knew that many of these products had potencies that were extremely high and were making Minnesotans sick after my work with HCMC and just looking at what we were seeing with poison control. Businesses were receiving cease and desist letters, additionally, based solely on report, so it resulted in a patchwork of regulation. It felt very unfair to businesses. The goal was to regulate the product and put in protections. One must be 21 or older to purchase this product. It cannot bear likeness to candy, animals, or fruit, and must have child-proof packaging, and the serving size must be clearly labeled. We went with 5 milligrams per serving and the maximum of 50 per package because we were really looking at consumer safety with consuming these products.
Join us again next week as we delve into more topics affecting Minnesotans. I'm Shannon Loehrke, and on behalf of all of us at Senate Media Services, thanks for watching.